Quick note on the way I formatted this video, I start off talking about my experience at the recent Canada-Sweden game, then I recap the game, then at the end I do a primer for the World Junior Playoffs and the eventual gold medal game, including my prediction and bracket. If you want to skip around, I'll put timestamps on the screen right now. Canada just absolutely laid a thumping on Sweden in a dominant 5-1 victory. I'm going to give my recap on the game and my analysis, but I'm also going to share my experience at the game. So if you're not interested in that, watch another video. I'm not interested in the complaints. I'm joking, but also not really. If you do want to skip straight to the highlights, I'll put a timestamp on screen, but I do want to talk about the experience and the atmosphere of the game itself. So I didn't win the ticket lottery. I've been picking up tickets where I can. I was able to go to Austria versus Canada, thanks to my buddies Jeff and Dylan. For this one, I was looking hard for tickets. The best ones I found were $325. Expensive, but in my opinion, worth it because it was a phenomenal experience. Probably my favorite sporting experience I've been to live. I was sitting near the top of section 5, which is one of the corners, specifically on the side where Canada shot twice, and I've got to say, these were pretty much perfect seats. You had an excellent view of action on that side of the ice, but still a really good look at the play on the other side. Interestingly, the rest of the section behind my seat was made up mostly of NHL scouts and executives. Danny Briere, who I think works for the Flyers now, was sitting in a seat behind me and off to the left. It was pretty cool. Anyway, the crowd was insane. The videos I got don't really show that. It was so loud, I think the noise reduction kicks in, as you can hear. But anyways, I'll just play those, then we'll get to the coverage. Alright, so as for the game itself, Canada was absolutely dominant, especially in the first period. This was the first game of the tournament where it really looked to me like the team was not only playing well individually, but were actually playing a well-structured game as a team. They were getting the puck into the O-zone, they were cycling, forechecking well, just moving the puck generally, and of course the big guys like Wright and Bedard came to play. Less than 60 seconds in, Bedard hit Joshua Waugh with an absolutely beautiful fake slap shot pass, which he finished off easily. The excitement of the crowd here was unbelievable, and at that point I knew that the money I spent on the tickets was worth it. Canada would get their second goal less than 3 minutes in on the back of their super hot power play. There was another assist for Bedard, a secondary one with Wright this time having the dazzling pass. With 8 minutes left in the first, Tyson Hines would take a big hit to rip a one-timer from the slot. Another really nice pass, this time from Stankoven, but with Bedard getting a secondary assist. However, pretty much right after this, Canada would get a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for a knee on knee. I'm not going to complain about this one. I don't know if it was intentional. Ospachuk did put his knee out, but it also looked to me like he might have just been trying to get an edge. However, again, I understand this, and it definitely looked bad, especially from the broadcast angle. Anyway, although Canada did look pretty dominant for the first 2 minutes of that PK, Sweden would score one, and the period would end 3-1. A ton of action in the second, but no goals. I've seen a few people describe this as a frustrating one for Sweden because they dominated but didn't score. I really couldn't agree. Canada had the better chance and managed to kill off a 5-on-3. Canada also nearly scored on that after a weird sequence where the goalie played the puck and it bounced off Gauthier. The crowd was wacky. I can't imagine what would have happened had he scored that. Milic did have one incredible toe save on a cross-ice pass. Definitely the best save made by a Canadian goalie this tournament. Canada scored early in the third, so early in fact that I was actually still in the beer lineup. And Korchinski would ice it with 7 minutes left off another assist by guess who? Bedard. That would actually tie Bedard for top all-time for single points in a tournament by a Canadian skater, and he still has perhaps up to 3 games, so I can see him pretty easily cracking that. Peter Forsberg's run of 31 points in 7 games is probably untouchable. Bedard's actually on pace to meet it, but presumably scoring will go down now after the opening round, but who knows? He's been averaging 4.5 points a game. If he had that pace for all 7 games, that would put him at 31.5, technically beating with half a point somehow Peter Forsberg's record. If you're wondering how he scored so many points, well, a lot of it came from a 10-point night against Japan where they beat up on them 20-1. You just don't really see teams do that nowadays. Bedard is also 11 away from beating Peter Forsberg for the all-time points leader. 3 games, again, I'm not going to say it's impossible because, well, it's him, but I wouldn't expect it, although, you know, he did just get 4 points against Sweden, a top team. If it does happen, though, Canada will need to put up good numbers against Slovakia because it's only going to get harder. But what do you think? Let me know know your thoughts down below. Also, I'm going to definitely try to get tickets for the gold medal game. Man, is it going to be expensive, but I'm going to try. For fun, now that the playoffs are about to start, I'm going to do my predictions for the tournament. Finland versus Sweden is a weird one. Both teams have had games where they've looked a bit off. Sweden didn't look great against Canada and also had that weird 1-0 game against Germany. Finland had that shootout loss to Switzerland and just is coming off a loss to the Americans. I do think Sweden probably has this one. Czechia's looked great. I think that they take the game against Switzerland. The US should easily beat Germany, and although I don't think it will necessarily be easy, I suspect Canada will beat Slovakia. With the reseeding, that makes the ranking Czechia, USA, Canada, and Sweden, so we'll have semifinals of Czechia versus Sweden, USA versus Canada. The Sweden-Czechia game is actually a repeat of a game from the 29th, in that Sweden won 3-2 in overtime. This is a tough one. I really like the way Czechia's looked in this tournament. They're playing within their system so well. I think they take this one and Czechia moves on to the finals. I also think that Canada should be able to take down the USA. Canada is just too skilled, and in their past 3 games, they've been playing more like a team. I think they lack a bit of sort of the grinding, forechecking, especially around the boards, but I honestly think that's more of just a style of play thing. Canada's huge, the US is not, so I like how they look for this game. So yeah, my prediction is Canada takes it. Then, of course, we have the final, Czechia, Canada, and I'm going to be a homer. I just don't think the Canadians can be stopped. My one concern is goaltending. Honestly, Canada hasn't really been tested very much besides for the second period of the Sweden game and the first game where they didn't look too hot. Milic, however, did look good in game 1, and I suspect that he'll probably see the ice for the rest of the tournament. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Canada. I think they win the gold medal, but except for maybe their first round game, I don't think they're going to blow anyone up. But you know what? Competition is so tight this year, anything can happen. I mean, Slovakia beat the USA in the prelim round. I don't think Canada will get knocked out in the quarters. It would be an upset, but I mean, it wouldn't be the most shocking sports moment of all time. Just my thoughts though. Let me know yours. Who do you expect to win gold medal? Who do you think will have the worst showing in the playoff rounds? I look forward to reading your comments.